One of the number one reasons why women struggle with dating and relationships today is that they choose men who are not ready for anything real. Ladies, there are lots of great relationship-ready men out here. However, you need to learn how to choose them. I wrote this book to teach you how to do just that. Get your copy of Choose Well, a simple formula to determine the best man for you on Amazon today. Good morning. Good Sunday morning. All right, so I had put this off for a couple of days, but I said today I will have time on Sunday. I'm also going to make another video this morning on my drive to Chester, but I wanted to do this video while I'm sitting at my desk because this is going to be a teaching style video. And we're going to talk about the 4 reasons why men are not marriage material today. Okay, so for those of us women who want to be married and we are actually wife material. So there is a percentage of women that would make great wives. They understand the assignment, okay? And they want to be married. They want to have a family, or they want to be married. They want to be in a seriously committed relationship or be married. However, they are really struggling with finding men who are ready for that. Good morning, Freely_Yoli. Thank you. So there is a struggle on both sides. You know, men will say they're struggling to find women who are marriage material, right? We hear this from men all the time, that most of the women, and, you know, I've even said myself, about 80% of them are not marriage material. They're not ready to be wives. They're not ready to be in marriages. They're not ready to commit to the relationship as well as commit to the man. You know, they're just not ready. They're not ready. They're traumatized and wounded, or they're very radically left-leaning, liberal, you know, they're not ready, okay? For a myriad of reasons. And their attitudes are not a marriage attitude. Like, it's just not an attitude of a wife. You know, it's not a marriage attitude. So today we're talking about the men. And if you know anything about my channel, we are equal opportunity offenders over here. Okay, so I'm sure some of the things I'm going to say, men are going to feel a way about, but these are the 4 things. This information comes to us from Susan Venker. Check her out over on YouTube. I actually love her channel. She had a podcast that she recently ended. She and I have a lot of similarities in the ways that we coach and counsel couples and talk to singles. We are like sisters from different misters, for sure. You know, we're like the same person, just in different bodies. And she still writes. She still writes on, I think it's a Substack. That's the new thing now, that it's not a blog, it's a Substack. So she writes, and she wrote an article about this. And again, I agreed with the 4 reasons that she gave. So let's jump in. These are the 4 reasons why today's men are not marriage material. The first biggest reason is the lack of fathers in the home. So we know that the father is the boy's first example of healthy manhood or masculinity. And when that is missing, it's up to the boy to now piece together what it is to be a man. And so he'll do that from watching television, from looking online, from looking at these male podcasters. He'll do that from men in his neighborhood, men in his church, or wherever, and men in his school, which there aren't many men there. You know, wherever he can find men, he will piece together what it is to be a man from those men, because he has no father at home. And there are some men who have a father at home that just isn't a very good father, isn't a masculine father. Okay, now I am of the belief that you can learn from a bad example, but the truth is very few people do that. Okay, what we observe is what we tend to emulate. And so if he's seeing dudes on the corner and they're selling drugs and they're carrying a gun, or if he sees dudes in the community that got a lot of women and they, they're playboys and all of that, and they get a lot of their validation from women, he's going to think that's what a healthy man is. And he is going to fold that in or emulate that. So the lack of fathers in the home, the lack of good, healthy, strong, masculine fathers who are leaders and protectors and providers, fathers who guide and educate and direct their children. When we don't have that, men don't have a clue of what healthy masculinity is. And they're going to emulate all the wrong men. And remember, single moms, they're doing their best. I happen to be one. I think I did a pretty great job raising my children. But they don't make single moms like me anymore. And that's one of the things that I've been telling to younger single mothers. They don't make single mothers like me anymore. Single mothers that, I'm not bringing men into my house on rotation. I'm not, turning my son into my little husband. I'm not trying to be my kid's friend. They don't make single mothers like me anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. I didn't just provide for my children, I raised my children. There is a difference between children who are provided for and children who are raised. So you need to understand that. I'm going to turn my light down. Okay. All right. Turn my light down there. Okay. So today's single mom, like I said, today's single mom is raised in the TikTok era. So you have to keep in mind, I was not raised in the social media era. I was not raised in the TikTok era. I don't even have TikTok, right? I don't even have TikTok. So, I was more or less, and I wouldn't even say I was raised in the Facebook era, because by the time I got Facebook, I was a grown up. I was 30, 8, 37, 36. I can't remember. I was a grown up. I was a full on grown up when Facebook was invented. So I wouldn't even say I was raised in the Facebook era, because I was a grown up. And so, there is a strong line between parent and child in my eyes, right? My kids are my kids. They're my children. They're not my best friend. They're not my confidant. They're not other parents in the house. No, I don't believe in that. Y'all, I don't know why my nose starts itching whenever I get in these videos. I have no idea why. My apologies. So, single moms do the best they can. Some of them don't, and it's just totally different. Feminine energy and masculine energy is totally different. That's the difference between being a healthy person and an unhealthy person. Totally different. So you have single moms like me that don't take no mess. I'm not looking for my children to be my friends. I'm not dressing like them. I'm not talking like them. I'm not cussing in front of my kids. I'm not doing any of that. And then you have another single mom who is unhealthy and she's doing all the wrong things, and she's going to get the results that she gets. I tell a lot of people the reason why I've gotten the results that I get, and there have been times where I've been hated by my kids. I have been hated by my kids, and I'm like, okay, all right, I can live with it. But it's the lack of fathers. That's the number one main reason, is the lack of fathers in the home, teaching young boys and young men how to be fathers, how to be husbands, how to just be good men. Like, that's really one of the biggest reasons. Number 2, internet addiction. So a lot of men today, again, this is a pretty recent phenomenon in the last, 10, 20 years. Men have been spending a whole lot of time playing video games, watching internet porn, playing internet games, but they have, instead of, and it's interesting to me that the desire for adventure, the desire to conquer, the desire to be strong and be the hero, that desire lives within every man. But instead of going out into the world and doing those things, they're doing it online. They're doing it through video games, and they're doing it online. Instead of going out into the world and building something for real, they're doing that through playing these games. So, and watching pornography. And it's crazy to me that people still don't get it about internet pornography, online pornography. They still don't get it. They think it is totally harmless. And you are crazy out of your mind if you think online pornography is harmless. It is anything but harmless. It is dangerous. It is pervasive. It changes your brain. But a lot of people, it's a way for them to, if they're not getting sex, and it's a way for them to deal with that. And it is not good. So you've got a lot of men who are addicted to online pornography, or they're watching it every day. Okay. And it is distorting their view and opinion of women. A lot of men are already not very socially adept, so they don't know how to talk to people. And I see this all the time. I see young people, young women, young men, they don't have a clue how to carry on a conversation with another person. It is like insane to me. I'll start talking at a restaurant or a store or somewhere where I'm at to younger people, and it's like they look at me like I'm an alien. They don't have a clue how to have a normal conversation with a person. I can't make this up, y'all. And like I said, I come from a generation where that's all we had. All we had was mouth game. All we had was the ability. So I had a gentleman say this to me recently, and I thought this was interesting. He said, you are unique in the sense of you can articulate your thoughts and feelings in a calm way, in a way. He's like, every now and again, you'll get passionate, but for the most part, you're, calm. You don't use profanity. Like, you have a way of articulating your thoughts and feelings in a very palatable way, like in a way that people they're like, wow, and you can think on your feet. You have answers to questions. He's like, that's really unique. That's really unique today. I said, I know, but this was all we had. Like, you have to understand, this was all we had back in the day. You had to hone this skill. You couldn't just sit there and look good. You had to be about something. You had to be funny. You had to be witty. You had to know a lot of information about a specific topic or something. You had to give people something. You couldn't just sit there, look good, not answer questions, look dumb, no. Men were like, ugh, yeah, she looked good, but she's an idiot. She's a, what do they used to call it? A dingbat. That's what they called it in the 80s. She's a dingbat. She's a dingbat. She's a chicken head. She ain't about anything. But that's most people today. That's men and women. Most people do not know how to carry an intellectual conversation. They don't know how to converse without using profanity, which is, y'all know, that's my number one pet peeve. They don't know how to think. They don't know how to think critically. And that's not good. It's like, if you don't give them the talking point, they don't have it on their own. A lot of people simply regurgitate people online's talking points, and they say it exactly like the people online. So yeah, I'm just letting you know that the world is different. Life is different. All right, let me look at your comments. I had some comments here. Angelo.piero.arts says, hello. London single dad. Awesome. This is interesting. You just described my baby mom. If she was even halfway right, I would have married her. Sir, but you had a child with her. So you got to check yourself, because you ain't have no right impregnating her. But anyway, women watch porn too, not at the same rate as men, but they do. And they shouldn't be either. Women shouldn't be watching porn either. Porn is not good for anyone. I film stand-up comedy. Men are socially castrated and villainized at every turn. Of course, they're going to retreat to online communities of like-minded people. And here's what I'm going to say about that. I understand that the world, to some extent, has gotten harder. But I'm also going to say the men have gotten weaker. There you go. The men have gotten weaker. The world has gotten harder, and really in the digital or social, I'd say in the social sense. In the social sense, the world has gotten harder, but men have gotten weaker. Because here's what you ain't going to do. You ain't going to convince me that the men who fought in World War I, the men who fought in World War II, the men who fought in Vietnam, the men who lived through Jim Crow and slavery and segregation, right? That what you ain't going to do is try to tell me that men have not been through harder things. And the men who lived through the Holocaust, like what you ain't going to do is tell me that, the men are they're weaker. They're weaker. That's what's happening. And this feminist movement took hold because of weak men. Okay? If men had simply said, hey, you may take your rightful place beside us, but we are not going anywhere. You may take your rightful place beside us, but we're not going anywhere. We're not going to acquiesce. We're not going to bow down. We're not going to back out. We're not doing that. Like, we got here through thousands of years of patriarchy, and we're not going anywhere. But this idea that you're going to acquiesce or back down or back out or, the women are running things and the women are, it's like men are weaker. Men are weaker. They're disappearing from all of these places, disappearing from jobs, disappearing from school, disappearing from, all of these physical spaces. I mean, we got to be honest about that. Men are weaker. Men are weak-minded today. They don't have the grit. They don't have the resilience. They don't have the tenacity to say, we're not going anywhere. Now, we are seeing a resurgence. We are beginning to see a resurgence there, and it's been proven that men's testosterone has tanked. Men's testosterone has tanked today. And I'm sure that has something to do with it. But we are seeing a resurgence of men on the right, more conservative men, who are educated, who are strong, who are, marrying and having children, like they're standing up. And I pray every day that that's what happens, that men put down these vices. They put down smoking weed every day. They put down drinking alcohol every day. They put down pornography. They put down video games other than what I would call the social or occasional playing. They put this stuff down and they go out into the world and they take the world back. They penetrate the world again. That's what needs to happen. Okay? I Film Stand-Up Comedy says they also didn't have to worry about being put on blast in a TikTok for being creepy, unattractive. The London Tai Chi brother says, let me get my books. Okay. So yeah, that's my opinion. Now, keep in mind, I'm not of this generation. I'm talking about, I'm born in 1968. So, the men today, in my humble opinion, they're weak. They're weak. And y'all call it simp. That's what y'all call it. I hate that word. But y'all call it simping. And come on, y'all call it that. So don't even act like what I'm saying is crazy, because y'all call it simping. Okay? They are weaker. They're putting up with way more disrespect. They're allowing a lot of this stuff to happen instead of standing up. And I think men need to have men-only spaces again. I think men need to create organizations again. I think men need to take their power back. I don't think they ever lost their power. They need to stand in their power. That's what I think. So that's my opinion. I have to talk with a lot of the men in my practice who come in with a similar attitude. And it does. Something about it triggers me. I'm not going to lie. Something about it triggers me, and it sends me off like, look, I don't care what the world is doing. Okay? You've got to be a man. You have to stand up and be a man. And it's not going to be easy. Who promised you that being a man would be easy? It's actually one of the hardest things anybody can do, which is why I don't want to be one. Being a woman has its own downfalls, but I don't want to be a man. But we need strong men to talk to other men like this. But I do. I talk to men like this in counseling because I'm like, no, sir. No, sir. You are not getting the respect you want in your home because you're not a good leader. You're not getting the respect you want in your home because you have a bunch of vices. Okay? So, you argue back and forth with your woman. You cuss your woman back and forth. Like, that's why you're not getting the respect that you desire. Okay, he says, there is a nice group for Black single fathers. Excellent. And we need more of those. We need more of those. There is a work that only men can do. There is a work out there that only men can do. Men have to start it. Men have to lead it. Men have to run it. And if you're not willing to do that, I tell men in my city all the time, shut up. Shut up about it, because you're not going to do anything about it but cry online and cry in these groups that we're in. Just shut up about it. If you're not going to put your money where your mouth is, just shut up about it. And I tell people who come on my platform the same thing. Like, baby, you on my platform. You understand that, right? This is what I take my time to do to help young women, to help middle-aged women and older women. This is what I do. I take time to create content. I edit that content. I put it up on YouTube. And you get to sit back and criticize it. That's what you do. You get to be a keyboard warrior and sit back and criticize what I do every day. So I don't want to hear it. I don't. All right, next, number 3. Ooh, you ready? This is a reason why men are not marriage material today. Women's sexual availability. There you go. I just got it out. Ladies, you do understand that one of the ways that you help a man to step into that masculine strength, to truly become the man that he needs to be. There's the way that women can help men do that. And you know what that is? Telling a man no. Telling a man no is the way that you help men become men. And when you don't do that, when you give them every little thing their heart desires, when you lay down with them on the first date, when you let them move in with you, when you give them money, when you help them update their resume and help them find jobs and let them drive your car. This is a very harsh reality, but a lot of women are the reason why men are not stepping up. Men are not rising in that masculine strength anymore. It's women. It's what you allow. It's what you keep allowing over and over and over. And look, even if you're not one of these women, because I'm not. Y'all know my stance on giving men money. And I take so much heat for that. But okay, I'm not backing down. I'm not giving no man money. Okay, no man is moving into my house. No man is driving my vehicle. I'm not doing any of that. However, I also check other women that are doing that. So it is called slut shaming. It's called slut shaming. Can I be honest? It's basically called slut shaming, where women call out other women's bad behavior. Because we know on a base level that behavior is going to hurt all of us. We know this. We know that if women continue to give men free sex, to continue to be free wives, guess why? And this is the biggest reason. Men are not seeking marriage anymore because women are providing everything that's in marriage. You're providing everything a man gets married without the paperwork, without the ring, without the commitment, whether it's a covenant or a contract. You're giving a man everything that is in a marriage without the marriage. And so that's the third reason. A woman's sexual availability, a woman providing a man with all the things that, all the benefits of marriage without being married. So that's a tough pill to swallow, but it is the truth. We have to check other women. That's why I teach other women the standard. I teach other women, look, we all need to be following the standard. And we will right the ship. See, we will right the ship back up once we all get on the same page. But we have to have a standard. We have to have a standard for how we're going to engage with men. And if we don't have that, if we're giving everything away for free, and look, that's like you open in a store and it has all these beautiful things in it, and you let men come in and shop and get whatever they want and walk out. And look, this would 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you, I'll be back to pay for this later. I don't have any money on me now, but I'll be back later. He's not coming back later. And you wonder why you going out of business. You wonder why you going bankrupt. You wonder why you going crazy inside your mind. And what am I doing wrong? It's I can't make this up, y'all. Women come into my practice and they tell these stories. Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I'm just like, what in the world are you thinking? What did you think would happen? You let him move in, drive your vehicle, you pay the bills, you got pregnant by him. Like, what did you think would happen? Again, I keep telling y'all, free sex is like giving out money on the corner. Okay? So that's me going to New York City and standing in Times Square, and I have a sign on my chest that say free $100 bills. Okay? Free $100 bills. There will be a line around the block. Old, young, black, white, tall, short, fat, skinny. All kind of ethnicities and religions and races and creeds. It don't matter. Free money is free money. And you will have a line around the block. Some people will get in the line 2 and 3 times to get another $100 bill. You have to have standards. And those standards should be realistic, because I know y'all about to say that. Those standards should be realistic, but you have to have standards. Okay, he said Eventbrite is a great tool to use and search for groups. I agree. The London Tai Chi brother. Straight Facts, Living Grace 7 said, yes, there is no space for them to earn anything. 0. And again, you know what you get? I don't know why I got to keep saying this out loud. You get a male. A woman who just gives herself away, you get a male. You don't get a man. You get a male. You get a person with a penis and some balls. You don't get a man, because men are not created by yes, 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 yes. No. It's no, 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 no. As what is, I'm not even going to bring up the quote, because I'm going to misquote it. But it talks about how, when times are good, it creates weak men. And weak men create bad times. And then those bad times will now make men stronger. That is facts. But when times are good, when you can pull open the app on your phone and get food delivered, when you can pull open the app on your phone and get a ride, when you can flick the light switch on and off and turn on the faucet and go into any store without getting kicked out or told, oh, it's whites only, or you got men going in the women's bathroom now. You got men going into women's bath. That's how free we are. That's how free we have become. And it has created weak men. Period. That's the number one thing, other than men's rights, I keep telling men, until y'all are willing to fight for your own rights, you got to be willing to fight for your own rights. You have to take a chance on being canceled because you have to fight for your own rights. And then maybe you can fight for the rights of women and children. Maybe you can fight for the rights of the underdog or other people. But y'all won't even fight for your own rights. Men online continue to talk about mandatory DNA tests. Okay, become a congressman, become a senator, become mayor, become governor, become something, and literally make that your, like, okay, this is my goal. This is what I'm about. And I'm going to get other men to back this. I'm going to change this legislation. I'm going to change legislation on no-fault divorce. Like, why aren't you all doing that? Make that make sense. Because you have what? Let me see if I can look up some numbers. This is what I don't get, y'all. Okay, there we go. 0.8% of U.S. adults identify as transgender. 0.8%. And they out here going in the bathroom. They out here in female sports. They out here, wanting all these rights. They out here changing minors, like, giving the medication to 0.8%. And they out here changing the world, changing the country as we know it. That is a problem. And you mean to tell me, okay, let's do, because this is crazy. This is crazy. 49.1% of men in the U.S. You ought to be ashamed. You got 0.8% of people changing our country as we know it, changing legislation as we know it. And 49.1% of y'all can't do nothing. I'm sorry. I see, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say to that. You have to be willing to fight for your own rights. It really is that simple. But people have gotten so complacent, so lazy. So complacent, so lazy. I often tell people, we could, especially black people, we could be put back into Jim Crow because people are just so darn lazy. I don't see anybody fighting for those civil rights again. I just don't see it because we're just lazy. God forbid if white folks wanted to actually take us all the way back. Strip us of rights, take us all the way back. I think a lot of us will still be right there because we're lazy. We're lazy. Those people back then fought with their life. I am going to get these rights. I think that's what men need to do now. He said, but say no nicely. Some brothers are very sensitive. Okay, I was just talking about how I have no need to get in a relationship because I have no shortage of action. There you go. Big V in comedy says 100. I film stand-up comedy. They can't give it up to the bums while expecting the good guys to foot the bill. Example, Russell Wilson. Cam Goa 46. They made it easy. We don't even have to fight. Divestment is changing things faster. Women are the majority voting bloc. Do you think they'll vote in favor of those things? Baby, they got Trump elected. Did you just see what I said? They got Trump elected. There are women out here. There are women out here that don't see an issue with a lot of these things. They're just like, yeah, if I'm sleeping with my man, like I said, if my husband had asked me for a paternity test, he would have got a paternity test. Because I know he's the father of my children. He can ask me for a paternity test to this day. Please ask me for a paternity test, okay? Like, come on now. So, ladies, your sexual availability. You giving a man marriage rights without being married. That's the problem. That's the problem. There's no incentive. You all have destroyed the incentive for a man to marry you. That's it. See, that's it. Number 4, and this is the last one. And I'm actually going to include a clip by Jeff St. James. And it was shocking when I heard it, but I was like, yeah, I think he's onto something. It was kind of shocking when I heard it, but he's onto something. But number 4, the reason why men aren't marriage material is that women have become their own providers. They've become their own financial providers. So many years ago, women needed a man's resources. She needed a man's money. She needed a man's protection. And so she partnered with a man. But today, we have a lot of women carrying firearms and getting their, concealed carry, and they have jobs and they make plenty of money. They have their own homes. They have their own cars. And that's a big part of a man's identity, is providing these things for his woman, providing these things for his family. And so, like, we are selling this idea of what do we need men for? Like, what do we need men for? And a lot of women, they're on that plane. What do we need men for? We can do this, we can do that, we can do this, that man. I can hire a landscaper, I can hire a handy guy, but again, I'm going to tell women the same thing that I tell men who say they don't need women. I tell the men that are MGTOW, oh, we're just going our own way, we don't need women. Okay, I want you to remove from your life everything that was created by women, every service or product created by women, and that includes pornography, because women are in pornography, right? Pornography, prostitution, escorts, right? So when we say no woman, we mean no woman. Okay? So remove all that from your life. I tell women the same thing. Remove all men from your life. So you're not going to hire a yard guy. You're not going to hire a handyman, because if they happen to be male, unless they're female, and there are very, very, very few women who own landscape companies. There are very, very few women who own handy person companies. Very few. Okay? Very few female electricians. Very few female plumbers. Very few. So when I say literally remove all men, the other thing that I want women to do is we're going to get rid of all sperm banks. We're going to get rid of sperm banks, because that product is made by men, right? You don't need men anymore, right? Men are useless. So we're going to get rid of all sperm banks. See, now I got you. So the truth of the matter is we do need each other. And yes, do I believe it goes beyond provision for men and sex for women? I do. Okay, so men seem to need the feminine for sexual needs and sexual desire. Women tend to need men for their resources and their financial assets. But I think it's deeper than that. I think it's a whole lot deeper than that. In this current modern day society, we've boiled it down to those two things, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. Okay, so, all right, I got some. All right, he says that's only part. I don't know if that's about the voting. That may be true, but on this speed dating event, I had met lawyers, teacher, business owners. Many of these women won't realize it until it's too late. And I would say the same for men. I would. Like I said, it's funny to me that men have this this high and mighty, oh, we're going to be just fine without women. Not if we took away every female created product, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. But because you have pornography, because you can have sex with random women or hire prostitutes, yeah, that's what's so-called getting you by. But if we literally removed every woman from the face of the earth, no, you wouldn't. And they keep acting like they're going to be doing so much better, and women are the ones that are going to suffer, and winter is coming for all of us. Winter's coming for all of us. Okay? All of us are going to feel it. He said by then the rest of us will be boarding our flight to the DR. With the growth of women's autonomy, how can men adapt to that? Men will have to adapt. But I also think that women are going to have to carefully decide, right? So it's just like when I posted that women, the more education they get, the least likely they are to be married. Like, you just have to be very mindful of these statistics. Just be mindful. And women, they hear that and they think, oh, she's telling us not to get all this education. She's dumbing us down. She wants us to go back to the 20s and all of this. Life is about trade-offs. And I just want you to be mindful of that. Right? Think about the time and effort it takes to get a master's degree, a doctorate degree, to go through med school, law school. That's a lot. That's a lot of time. And then when you're done with medical school, you have to go through residency, you have to do a fellowship. I mean, it's a lot. So that's a lot of time. That's a lot of good, fertile years that you're spending getting this higher education. And again, if you want to be married and have children, it's a decision that every woman has to make. What is most important? What is most important to me right now? But because women can't realistically think about life as trade-offs, you think you can have it all, and you can't. He said, LOL, why would a man provide for a woman who prides herself on the ability to provide for herself? Well, if we're being honest, I film stand-up comedy. Today, a lot of men need a woman's provision. And y'all are telling me this. It's not me telling y'all, because I actually believe that men and women can come together and marry and live off of one salary. But the men, whenever I'm in a couple session, the men are the ones saying, no, we can't do that. I need my wife to work. It's the men saying that. So yeah, you need to ask the men about that, because the men are the ones telling me they need their wife to work. The economy is so bad. I need my wife to work. We need her salary. That's coming out of the men's mouth. I actually believe that there's still women out there who would stay at home. They would stay at home. They would take care of their children full time, at least for a period of time. And then they'd return to their careers later. The men are telling them no. The men are saying, nope, I need you to work. We need your money. And they are counting on their money. They are counting on their money. And then, of course, you have women out there who refuse to live off of the man's salary. So that's problematic. Because I often tell couples, if he makes $80,000, you live off of $80,000. Live off of the man's salary. And again, a lot of this is temporary, because a lot of couples, when their kids are little, I say, yeah, I want one of you to be at home with your children. And then as your children enter into elementary school, then you can go back to work or work part-time, but live within your means. I have a couple right now that is, the wife could stay at home, but because they're running up credit cards and they're ordering Uber Eats and they're, going on vacations they can't afford and buying things they can't afford. That's really what's happening. Can we be honest? Can we just be honest on this live? Most people live outside of their means. One thing I tell a lot of my couples, if you need to put anything on a credit card, you're living outside of your means. I just put an HVAC on my home, this is November, 5 months ago. I put an $8,000 HVAC new system on my home, and it hurt. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. It stung, but I had to take it out of my savings. I was like, well, that's $8,000 gone. I had to take it out of my savings. I thank God that I had it in my savings. But yeah, I save money. I save money for incidences like that. Now I'm building my savings back up again because I have to put a new roof on my home next year. So I'm always telling people, if you're putting everything on a credit card, you can't afford it. You cannot afford it. That's in essence what's happening. You can't afford it. I hate to tell you. And unless you can put it on a credit card and pay the total bill when it comes, you can't afford it. Okay. All right. He said, I'm 28. I have met a handful of women who want to be a stay-at-home mom and live off the man's salary. And I'm actually surprised by that. But there are women out there. There are women out there who would do it. And who are more traditional, who are more conservative. And I encourage men to find those women. Those women exist. S_O_hard knock says, just got on. Women are the ones who say they don't need men. As men, we say we can survive without women. I think women will not survive in the long haul without men. Like I said, I think all of us are going to be doing pretty bad. As far as when you say survive, and again, it depends on the man that you're talking about, because just earlier, I talked all about how weak men have become. Men have become incredibly weak. There are a lot of men in their 20s that don't know the names of any tools. They don't know how to use any power tools. They don't know how to fix anything. They don't know how to make a fire. They don't know how to shoot a gun. Like, all of these things I learned at 16. Okay, I come from an entirely different generation. But at 16 years old, my dad's like, yeah, we're going into the woods. Yeah, we're going hunting in West Virginia. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to take apart a gun. I'm going to show you how to clean a gun. I'm going to show you how to shoot a gun. I'm going to show you how to use these power tools. I'm going to show you how to use this drill. I'm going to show you how to use this bandsaw. I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to fix the toilet. I'm going to show you how to, that was par for the course in my home. And it wasn't just the boys. It was everybody. Everybody's going to learn how to do this. Okay? That was a different time. That was a different time. Men today are different. I see it. Men today are different. Their testosterone is the lowest it's ever been in history. They are lazy. They are addicted to the internet and pornography. You've got a lot of men out here who don't know how to talk to people, much less women. There is a lack of courage and bravery in your average man. Men are, in my humble opinion, too worried about what women are doing. I came from a generation where just women coming in talking, the man's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, why are you in here? Like, that's the response a woman would get if she came into a room full of men and started talking. What? Huh? How did you get in here? Like, that's the response. And today's men stay talking online to women back and forth and back and forth and back. Like, it's crazy to me. And the men of my day, they were like, can I help you? Like, what are you doing in here? They got nothing for these women. I don't have that kind of time. I don't have time to gossip. I don't have time to sit around and talk about your little girlfriends and what you got going on at work. I work hard. I fix things. I provide for the family. I make sure everyone's protected. That was a man's role. But today, shoot, these liberal men, these these male feminists, it's a whole different ball game. He said, I've met more women who would rather pay for daycare than stay at home with the children. For sure. And I agree with that. No, I agree with that. Because even the women I talk to, they will talk about having a baby and then recoil in disgust at the thought of raising that baby. That's insane to me. like it's insane. It is absolutely insane. I'm like, what is happening? Like, you're talking about having a baby, but the thought of raising that baby just makes you go, like, what? All right. Everyone lives beyond their means. Not over here. Like I said, I gotta find. Let me put the little cap in the comment, because not over here we don't. Not over here we don't. Y'all speak for yourself. I don't live beyond my means. There are lots of things I would love to do, but I don't do them because if I can't pay cash to do it, I don't do it. Okay? Living beyond your means is the American way. Again, not over here. It's not. I don't know what y'all doing, but that's not how we do it over here. Dominican Kisser says all men and women need each other. Agreed. A lot of women don't want to depend on a man for finances because they feel that man would try to exercise some sort of dominance over her financially. And the truth is, some men have. Not all. Some men have. And to me, those stories are rare, but women have blown that up to make it seem like every man is like that. And that's not true. Y'all, I got to get ready to get off of here. Evolving_Lulu74 says, I just got a notification. How much did I miss? I'm getting ready to wind down. I've been on here for 48 minutes. I was a stay-at-home dad as my ex made more money than me. Okay, that's different. I totally agree. Men are becoming extinct. Yeah, I'm sorry. They're not what they used to be. Women are not what they used to be. Y'all know over here, I pull no punches. I hurt everybody's feelings. You know that already. So don't even with that. Men are not what they used to be. Women are not what they used to be. Nobody is who they used to be. Okay? So this modern day world is destroying y'all. George Green says, yep, we had to learn how to change oil and tires before getting a license. Yeah, I know how to change a tire. I know how to change a tire. And it's just wild to me. I know how to check my oil. I know how to change a tire. I know basic stuff that, okay, my dad's like, yep. And if you get on the side of the road, you see this white t-shirt I got in here, you put that in the window, you got this. Yeah. These are things that I learned that we're just not teaching boys or girls anymore. We're just not teaching that stuff anymore. Okay, she wanted to know how old were you, the London Tai Chi brother, when you were a stay-at-home dad. That's social engineering at its finest. It is. It is. Men learn these skills to protect and provide for their family. When having your own family is an unlikely outcome, men stop participating. Okay. No Lies Told. Please post this immediately. I would love to hear from the beginning. It will be over on YouTube later this evening. But people are just not the same. People are just not the same. I hate to break it to you. They're not. They're not. The world has become easy and it's created a bunch of soft people. It's created a bunch of entitled people. It's created a bunch of prideful and haughty people. It's destroying us. And it's really sad that people can't see that we're slowly being destroyed. Now, I think that slowly is speeding up. I think it's starting to speed up. I told you, I think in the last 5 years, that's when I started to get scared. I was like, oh my God, this is like scary out here. These people are crazy. These people are scary. But I think it's only going to go faster and faster and faster. So, yeah. But I'm gonna put Jeff St. James' clip where he talked about women losing their jobs, that once women are no longer able to provide for themselves financially, when they're no longer able to procure good paying jobs, or the economy goes haywire and they can no longer support themselves, and they'll start partnering with men again. And that could happen. It's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. And I'm always telling people, yes, I think your lifestyle would be better. There are benefits to partnering with someone. There are benefits to pooling your resources together and partnering with someone and helping each other be the best version you can be. There's wonderful benefits to that. But because everyone's afraid, because everyone's traumatized and wounded, they say, oh no, I would never take that chance because I'm too afraid to be intimate. I'm too afraid to be emotionally available. I'm too afraid, to give a person access to me in my life that way. A lot of that's fear. A lot of the reasons why people won't, match up anymore is fear. And what's crazy is there are even people out here that don't even have negative experiences themselves. They're going off of other people's negative experiences. They're hearing other people talk about their divorces and talk about, being cheated on and my narcissistic baby daddy and all this. And I'm thinking, okay, but if that didn't happen to you, like, why are you afraid? That's not even your experience. That's crazy to me, y'all. Like, what I look like, that's like somebody saying, ooh, cats are demons, cats are really awful and they are just, cats are really scary. They're really awful. And now I got to be afraid of cats. That don't make no sense. He said, I imagine being propositioned by a woman who is only giving you the time of day because she got laid off. It could be. I'm going to love like I've never been hurt. Good for you. And that's what I tell people to do. Please do. Now you have to vet. You have to be smart about it. You have to be careful about it. I'm going to make another video later today about women and their poor vetting skills. And a woman's excuse every time for a man, hurting her is, well, he changed. He changed. He pretended to be one way and then I found out he was another. Y'all have got to shut up about that. You look dumb. Okay, you look dumb saying that. Because what in essence you're saying is I didn't do my homework. I didn't do my homework. I didn't stay off my back and off my knees. I let this man love bomb me. I've got wounds. I've got traumas from my past relationships. I'm anxiously attached. That's really what you're saying. I have all these problems and I attract all these problematic people. But if you work on yourself, you won't be having that experience anymore. Okay, she said dating is hard because some want a good time, not commitment. That's most of them. Most of them want a good time. Nah, we have to own it. Yeah, I agree. So I'll talk about that on my ride to Chester, which is what I'm getting ready to do now. Let me contact the person that I'm going to drop something off for. I got to do that now, but I will talk about that because I'll show a clip. I'll show a clip from a Kendra G episode where, again, the lady is saying the same excuse all of y'all say. Well, he changed. Like I said, when are we going to learn? These men are chameleons. Okay, then learn to spot chameleons, right? It's just like people saying marriage is so crazy. Marriage is awful. Marriage is problematic. No, pick better people to be married to. That's it. That's so crazy. You won't take any personal responsibility. You'll blame marriage. You'll blame marriage for the divorce. No, pick better people to be married to. Because evolving_Lulu74, my nose has been itching. I don't know what it is. My nose has been itching. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to put some Flonase up my nose. I'm also going to just put some Vaseline around. I don't know why. My nose has been itching this entire video. So she said, why you keep wiping your nose? My nose is itching. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know what's going on. He said, I want to travel. Okay. Yeah, so I gotta go, y'all. I gotta be all the way in Chester, which is like 40 minutes from me. And I was supposed to be there at 11 o'clock. It's 10:51. Clearly, I ain't gonna make it. I need a neti pot. Okay, I need something. But I'm gonna go in here and get myself straight. And then I'm headed to Chester. I'll be back on here again in about 30 minutes. And we'll talk a little bit about this. It's the number one excuse. It's the number one excuse that women use. Well, he changed. He pretended. We gotta stop. We gotta stop. We gotta stop. She said, my dermatologist gave me some hydrocortisone for that. It works. Okay, I'm gonna see if I got some in there because I just can't do it. Have a great Sunday. It's rainy. It's cold here, y'all. So I'm gonna do this quick errand and then I'm in for the day. I'm doing my admin paperwork. And my son and I just started watching this new It television show or the It series, Welcome to Derry. That thing is crazy. That thing is crazy. The first episode was crazy. So it's good though. If you into that sort of thing, check that show out. It's really good. All right, y'all. Have a great Sunday. And as always, stay open to love.